You ever look at your life and think, something has to change, but I don't even know where to begin? Most people try to fix themselves with motivation, quick fixes, or feel-good rituals. But deep inside, you already know. The things that actually transform you are seldom comfortable. That's why the Stoics stood apart. They didn't chase comfort. They forged resilience. They didn't run from problems. They prepared for them. Marcus Aurelius didn't become unshakable by chance. He became unshakable because he treated self-care like training, not a luxury. And if you're tired of feeling stuck, tired of carrying the same emotional load, tired of living the same year on repeat, this is your moment. Today we'll explore 7 Stoic self-care habits that don't just help you feel better, they rebuild you, slowly, quietly, powerfully. So breathe. The version of you you've been waiting for starts right here. Part 1. Virtue. The foundation of a reinvented life. If you truly want to change, you don't begin with motivation. You don't begin with routines or productivity tricks. You begin with virtue, because everything else collapses without a moral spine to hold it up. The Stoics believed you cannot build a strong life on weak values. That's where most people get stuck, trying to alter habits without changing the standards that shape them. They want confidence without integrity, success without discipline, peace without self-respect. Virtue in Stoicism is living by principles that don't bend when life gets hard. It's the quiet decision to do the right thing even when no one's watching. It's the courage to face your flaws straight on. It's the discipline to choose long-term strength over short-term comfort. The Stoics pointed to 4 core virtues: wisdom, seeing clearly, not through emotion or ego, but through grounded judgment. Reinvention begins when you stop lying to yourself. Courage, the willingness to act, not just in danger, but when facing uncomfortable truths and hard conversations. Temperance, self-control, the strength to say enough, to choose moderation, to not let impulses run your life. Justice, living honorably, treating others fairly, keeping your word, acting in a way that improves the room. When you build your life on these 4, everything else shifts. Not because life becomes easier, but because you become stronger. Picture Marcus Aurelius, emperor of the world's greatest empire, sitting alone at night writing reminders. Don't let anger lead you. Don't let pride blind you. Don't let fear soften you. Remember who you want to be. That wasn't mere journaling. That was self-care at the highest level. A man sharpening his character so the world couldn't break him. You need that same foundation, because without virtue, every habit stays superficial. With virtue, every habit becomes unshakable. How to practice virtue daily. 1. Ask 4 questions before every choice. Is this wise? Is this courageous? Is this self-controlled? Is this honorable? If not, you already know the answer. 2. Write your non-negotiables. 3 principles you refuse to break even on your worst day. Maybe honesty, maybe consistency, maybe protecting your peace. Put them in writing and live them ruthlessly. 3. Do a nightly integrity check, not to punish yourself, but to refine yourself. Where did I live my values today? Where did I slip? What will I correct tomorrow? Reinvention doesn't happen the moment you change your life. It happens the moment you change your standards. You rise to the level of your virtues and you fall to the level of your excuses. Part 2. Master the 2 circles of control. If there's one habit that can instantly reduce stress, clarify your mind, and restore your power, it's this: learn what's yours to carry and what isn't. Most people never reinvent themselves because they spend their lives fighting battles they can't win, trying to control people, outcomes, timing, approval, luck, or other people's emotions. Epictetus put it plainly: you have power over your mind, not outside events. In those words lies one of the greatest self-care tools ever created. Stoicism divides life into two circles. One, what you can control. This circle is small, painfully small, but incredibly potent. It includes your thoughts, interpretations, choices, effort, actions, and character. This is where real transformation happens. Focusing here is harder. It forces responsibility and inward work. People avoid it because they'd rather blame others than confront what they didn't do. 2. What you cannot control. This is the circle that quietly drains lives. What others think of you, what others do or don't do, outcomes, the past, the weather, traffic, timing, external success, random events, the inconsistency of others. Trying to control these things breeds anxiety, resentment, and burnout. Letting them go creates peace. Stoic self-care isn't soft, it's realism. It's about getting real. Practice the two-column reset. Step 1. Draw 2 columns. Left, what I can control. Right, what I cannot. Step 2. Fill them honestly. You'll feel lighter because you stop fighting battles that aren't yours. Step 3. Circle one thing on the left, not 5, not 10, just 1, and take action on it today. This simple reset grounds your energy, reduces overthinking, and shifts you from helplessness to agency. Part 3. The golden pause. Master your emotions before they master you. If there's one battle that determines the direction of your life, it's the fight between reaction and response. Most people don't lose control because life is hard. They lose control because they never learn to pause. In our world, emotions move faster than logic. A message triggers anxiety, a tone triggers anger, a small inconvenience triggers a spiral. We react before we understand, speak before we think, and regret before we realize. The Stoics knew this. You don't have to believe everything your emotions tell you. You must learn to understand them. Marcus wrote, "If something external harms you, it is not the event itself, but your judgment about it." That's the golden pause, the space between stimulus and response where chaos becomes clarity. Emotions aren't enemies. Anger signals, fear warns, sadness reflects, stress requests boundaries. The problem is emotional autopilot, unconscious reactions that sabotage relationships, careers, and peace. Reinvention can't happen until you interrupt that autopilot. That's where the golden pause becomes supreme self-care. It shields your mind from your own impulses. The STOP method, your 60-second reset. It's stoic, simple, fast, and brutally effective. S. Stop. Freeze the impulse. Don't reply, don't explain, don't justify. Stopping is the first act of self-respect. T. Take 3 breaths. Slow breathing lowers adrenaline, interrupts flooding, and signals safety to your brain. 3 breaths can save you from words you'll regret. O. Observe. Name what you feel. I'm angry. I'm hurt. I'm confused. Labeling moves your brain from reaction to regulation. I. Interpret. Ask, is the story I'm telling myself actually true? That single question has saved marriages, careers, friendships. It collapses overthinking and forces clarity. P. Choose. Pick a response aligned with who you want to be, not what your impulses demand. This 60-second process gives you hours, days, even years of peace. Real-life example, your co-worker sends a disrespectful email. Autopilot wants to clap back. The golden pause asks you to stop, breathe, and respond with clarity instead of ego. Your partner misunderstands you. The autopilot in your chest wants to defend, to strike, to prove you were right. The golden pause doesn't let you win an argument. It helps you find the truth. You get bad news and your reflex screams panic. The golden pause steadies you and points you toward action instead of fear. Every time you choose the pause, you rewrite your identity. You grow calmer, clearer, harder to provoke, harder to manipulate, harder to break. The real transformation isn't in dramatic exits or headline moves. Most people think reinvention arrives when you quit, relocate, or launch something new. But real change lives in tiny, invisible moments, the seconds when you behave like the person you want to be instead of repeating old patterns. That's the golden pause, a small habit with massive consequences. So next time your emotions spike, whisper, "I choose response over reaction. I choose clarity over chaos." The strongest version of you isn't someone who feels nothing, it's someone who feels everything and still chooses wisely. Part 4. Premeditatio malorum. Train your mind before life tests it. Most people break down, not because life is cruel, but because they expected it to be easy. They assume smooth days, predictable people, and tidy outcomes. When reality deviates, as it always does, they crumble. They panic. They take things personally. They spiral. The Stoics refused that soft illusion. They knew life is unstable. Difficulty is guaranteed, but suffering, that can be limited by how you prepare your mind. Premeditatio malorum is the practice, the premeditation of misfortune. It doesn't mean cultivating gloom. It means rehearsing hardship so the shock and sting lose their power. Picture a firefighter. They don't wait for a real blaze to learn how to move through smoke. They train under stress. They run simulations. They mentally walk through failure, confusion, and loss. When the alarm sounds, their mind responds with precision, not panic. Stoicism asks you to become that kind of person, someone who doesn't shatter at the first sign of chaos. When you practice negative visualization, 3 things happen. 1. Your fear contracts. You can't fear what you've already faced in imagination. 2. Your gratitude widens. When you see the fragility of things, you value them more. 3. Your inner stability strengthens. The unexpected stops feeling like an ambush and starts feeling like another moment you've prepared for. This isn't pessimism, it's armor for the psyche. The practice, the 2-minute morning drill. Each morning, do this ritual. Step 1. Picture one realistic challenge you might face today. A delay, a rude person, a financial hiccup, an awkward conversation, an embarrassing moment. Step 2. Imagine yourself responding with virtue. Patience instead of anger, courage instead of avoidance, calm instead of panic, clarity instead of emotion. See the scene, feel the tension, and watch yourself act with integrity. Step 3. Lock the identity in place. Say silently, "If this happens today, I will not break. I will respond with strength." 2 minutes. That small rehearsal rewires your nervous system to expect resistance and meet it with grace. The evening reflection, Stoic gratitude with depth. At night, ask what Seneca often asked himself. "If today were my last day, what would I be grateful for? What would I regret not improving?" This question yanks you out of autopilot. You start to notice small gifts, a laugh shared, a warm meal, a moment of quiet, a small victory. You also confront where your character slipped, not with shame, not with drama, but with simple truth. Gratitude sharpens, priorities clear, life becomes intentional. A real-world scene, you walk into the office and your boss scrambles the project you stayed up late to finalize. Most people feel irritated or offended. A Stoic who practices negative visualization thinks, "I expected unpredictability today. I'm ready." Their mind stays calm because the situation feels familiar. They already lived it mentally. Or your partner snaps because they're stressed. Instead of reacting with hurt or ego, the trained mind says, "I prepared for emotional turbulence. I choose patience." That is self-care at its highest. The ability to remain yourself even when life refuses to cooperate. The mantra, Whenever something unexpected arrives, whisper, "I trained for this. I respond with virtue, not impulse." Reinvention isn't about removing hardship. It's about becoming the person hardship can no longer break. Part 5. Radical Honesty. Journaling as the mirror that never lies. There's a moment when people realize they've been avoiding themselves, their choices, patterns, and the truth about who they're becoming. People don't stay stuck because life is hard. They stay stuck because they refuse to look closely at their own mind. Nothing exposes that truth more clearly than honest journaling. The Stoics treated writing to themselves as mental hygiene. Marcus Aurelius wrote reminders to shape his character. Seneca reflected nightly to refine himself. Epictetus urged students to examine impressions. Reinventing your life begins with becoming brutally honest with yourself. Why radical honesty matters. Your mind will lie if you let it. It will excuse laziness. It will defend toxic habits. It will shift blame to others. The journal cuts through those defenses. It doesn't flatter. It doesn't protect your ego. It shows what you did, what you felt, what you avoided, and who you were today. Reinvention requires awareness. Awareness requires confrontation. Most avoid this because they fear what they'll find. Stoics embrace it because truth is the only thing strong enough to build on. The 6-question Stoic journal, 5 to 10 minutes. 1. What did I do well today? Celebrate it. Reinforce the identity you want. 2. What emotion hit me hardest today? Name it. Naming tames it. 3. What belief lived under that emotion? Anger often hides fear, sadness hides longing, anxiety hides a sense of lack. 4. What am I grateful for? Gratitude attacks entitlement. 5. What did I avoid or run from? Be precise. Avoidance undermines progress. 6. What is one small action I will improve tomorrow? Small, tangible, repeatable. This brief ritual creates awareness, sharpens discipline, and builds self-respect. You become more truthful, more disciplined, more reinvented. Everyday examples. You overreacted to a colleague. Write it down. Ask why. Maybe you felt disrespected. Maybe you were simply tired. Maybe your ego spoke faster than your values. The journal forces clarity. You skipped a workout again. The journal asks, was it lack of energy or lack of commitment? There's a difference. Knowing it decides your success. You felt irritated with your partner. Instead of blaming them, the journal helps you unpack the truth. Was it them, or were you projecting stress from somewhere else? Radical honesty doesn't shame, it reveals. Revelation is the birthplace of transformation, the psychology behind the practice. When you write, you separate yourself from emotional noise and return to logic. Your mind shifts from survival mode to strategy mode. Self-awareness rises, self-deception falls. Patterns you never noticed before suddenly become clear, undeniable, impossible to ignore. You can't correct what you refuse to see, but the moment you finally see the truth, everything becomes changeable. Everything becomes workable. Everything becomes rebuildable. The mantra. Every night tell yourself, honesty heals, honesty frees, honesty transforms. Because you cannot rebuild a version of yourself you are scared to confront. But once you face the truth directly, reinvention is already underway. Part 6. Voluntary discomfort. Building the mental immunity most people never develop. Anyone strong, steady under pressure, confident without arrogance, grounded no matter what chaos surrounds them, all share one trait. They trained themselves to handle discomfort. Most people dodge anything unpleasant. They avoid silence, they avoid boredom, they avoid tough tasks, tough conversations, tough truths. They take the easiest route every time and then wonder why the smallest inconvenience breaks their spirit. The Stoics understood what modern society ignores. Comfort is addictive. Comfort is seductive. Comfort is dangerous. Because the more comfort you cling to, the more fragile you become. Seneca practiced voluntary hardship, simple meals, rough surfaces, controlled discomfort, not to suffer, but to strengthen his inner immunity. He wrote that we suffer more in imagination than in reality, and voluntary discomfort exposes that truth. Once you learn to choose discomfort on your own terms, life's surprises stop feeling unbearable. Why this habit matters? When you put yourself through controlled difficulty, three things begin to shift. 1. You stop fearing discomfort. Fear loses power the moment you realize you can endure more than you assumed. 2. Discipline builds itself. Discipline isn't motivation, it's the ability to do what's hard even when the feeling isn't there. Voluntary discomfort trains that muscle directly. 3. Your identity toughens. You stop seeing yourself as fragile and start seeing yourself as capable. And identity shapes behavior more than anything else. Most people want to reinvent their life while clinging to comfort. You can't have both. Reinvention demands friction. The practice, the Stoic micro-hardship menu. Voluntary discomfort is not punishment. It isn't extreme. It isn't reckless. It is controlled, safe, intentional, and designed to stretch you without breaking you. Pick one each day, cold or cool showers for 30-60 seconds, not to suffer, but to teach your system to stay steady under shock. Skip a small comfort, one light meal, a favorite snack, or late-night scrolling, not deprivation, discipline. 10 minutes with no phone, no noise, no distraction. Most people panic in silence. Training stillness is training power. Walk instead of drive for short distances. It builds physical grit and mental clarity. Do one uncomfortable task immediately. The call you're avoiding, the message you haven't replied to, the clutter you haven't addressed. Discomfort avoided becomes suffering. Discomfort faced becomes freedom. One difficult conversation a week. Say what needs to be said with calmness, honesty, courage. Each micro-hardship reshapes your mind. Each increases your tolerance. Each lowers your fear threshold. Each strengthens your self-image as someone who does hard things. The psychology behind it. Your mind adapts to whatever you expose it to consistently. If you run toward comfort, your resilience weakens. If you engage with discomfort, your resilience expands. This is why athletes train under pressure, why soldiers prepare in harsh conditions, why Stoics welcomed controlled difficulty. You aren't preparing for suffering, you're preparing for life, and life will test you whether you're ready or not. Real example. Imagine two people. Person A avoids difficulty, hits snooze, skips the gym, hides in entertainment, runs from discomfort. Person B practices small controlled hardship, wakes up at the first alarm, completes tasks even without motivation, faces problems head-on, trains their mind in silence. When stress shows up, person A collapses. Person B remains steady. Not because their life was easier, but because they prepared for a harder one. The mantra. Whenever something feels uncomfortable, whisper, "This is training. Hard things shape me." Because the truth is simple. You cannot reinvent yourself while escaping discomfort. But once you learn to embrace it, you become someone life cannot break. Part 7. The Art of Saying No. Protecting your time, your energy, and your self-respect. If you want to reinvent your life, there's one skill you must master. A skill so simple yet so uncomfortable that it quietly ruins the happiness of millions. Saying no. Not out of rudeness, not out of selfishness, but because your life literally depends on it. People don't burn out because they're weak. They burn out because they spend their days following everyone else's plans except their own. They say yes to events they don't care about, yes to obligations that drain them, yes to people who never reciprocate. Slowly their time disappears, their energy fades, their self-respect dissolves. The Stoics warned about this. Marcus Aurelius cautioned against scattering your attention. Epictetus said, "You become what you give your time to." Seneca called it the tragedy of wasted life. Not that time is short, but that we waste so much of it. And nothing empties your life faster than the inability to say no. Why this habit matters. Saying no is more than a boundary. It's an identity statement. When you say no, you are saying, my time matters, my peace matters, my priorities matter, my life matters. And most importantly, you do not get to decide how I spend my limited existence. Every careless yes you give away is a quiet betrayal of yourself. Every deliberate no is an act of self-respect. Reinvention demands you stop living to please others and start living for the principles that actually define you. The 3-step Stoic method to say no with grace. You don't need anger, you don't need long explanations, you don't need guilt, you need clarity. Step 1. Name your top 3 priorities for the week. These are the non-negotiables. If an invitation, favor, or task doesn't support one of those pillars, it's a distraction, not an opportunity. Clarity turns refusal into protection. You're not rejecting a person, you're defending your mission. Step 2. Use a neutral boundary sentence. This is the Stoic-approved way to decline without drama. Thank you for thinking of me, but I can't commit to that right now. It's polite, it's firm, it closes the door without emotional friction. Variations. I appreciate it, but I'll have to pass. I'm not available for that, but thank you. Or, that doesn't fit my schedule at the moment. Short, clean, no guilt. Step 3. Audit your last 7 days. Scan your calendar, messages and tasks. Which yes drained you? Which yes helped you grow? Which yes was given out of obligation, fear, or habit? Reinvention begins by cutting 20–30% of the noise. Trim the non-essential and watch your life reorganize around what matters. Real examples. Your co-worker asks you to take over a project that isn't yours. Old you, sure, I'll do it. New you, I can't take that on right now. I hope it goes well. A friend invites you out, but you're exhausted. Old you says yes to avoid disappointing them. New you says, I'm recharging tonight, but thanks for the invite. A family member pressures you into something you don't want. Old you complies to avoid conflict. New you says, that doesn't work for me, but thank you. Boundaries aren't walls, they're doors you open and close on purpose. The real transformation. When you start saying no, 3 things shift immediately. 1. Your peace returns. You stop living in overwhelm and start living in alignment. 2. Your self-respect grows. You stop betraying your priorities to please others. 3. Your relationships improve. People who value you will honor your boundaries. People who don't will fall away. Both outcomes are gifts. Saying no doesn't push the right people away. It filters the wrong people out. The mantra. Whenever you feel pressured to say yes, whisper, if it costs my peace, it's too expensive. My time is mine. Because you cannot reinvent yourself if you keep surrendering your energy to things that don't build the future you want. No is not rejection. It is protection. It is one of the highest forms of self-care. Reinvention is not a moment. It's a daily, disciplined, and often uncomfortable series of choices. The 7 Stoic self-care habits you just learned aren't trends or motivational fluff. They are ancient tools for forging a mind that cannot be shaken, a character that cannot be corrupted, and a life you can finally stand behind. When you choose virtue first, you anchor identity. When you focus on what you can control, stress dissolves. When you practice the golden pause, your emotions serve you instead of sabotaging you. When you rehearse adversity, life stops surprising you. When you journal with brutal honesty, you grow faster than your excuses. When you embrace voluntary discomfort, your confidence becomes earned and real, and when you learn to say no, you reclaim your time, your peace, and your power. Reinvention isn't about becoming someone different. It's about returning to the strongest, most disciplined, most honorable version of yourself. So pick one habit, practice it today. Small, consistent steps compound. Quiet discipline transforms. Your future self is waiting. If this resonated, drop a comment. I reinvent myself. I'll see you in the next one.